We've seen an increase over the last year in requests for counseling for sexual abuse and sexual assault of about 83%. If I count from the year before, which is when the awareness started really hitting the news, the increase in requests for counseling for sexual abuse is more like 125%.
That's the situation at just one Toronto sex assault support clinic. Hamilton's Rape Crisis Centre says the number of requests they're getting and the wait times for their services have both doubled in the last year. And the Ontario Coalition of Rape Crisis Centres says from 2015 to 2016, their calls went up from 30,000 to 50,000. Now, with the current Me Too movement, more women are feeling empowered to speak up about their experiences with sexual assault. Many of those women marching here to City Hall just over a week ago, but resources at crisis centers can't keep up with the sudden surge in demand, leaving women waiting months longer than they were before for counseling. And some centers have had to get creative to ensure that survivors are getting some level of support, warning that coming forward could actually be doing more harm than good for some if they don't get the support they need.
We have opened up groups so that women can come and at least speak to one another with one of our facilitators. We're trying everything we can to open the doors and keep them open. We're doing on the phone very quick one-time consults and safety planning to make sure that women are not leaving that call with nothing. What's really suffering is that after that one call, there is nowhere to refer them to. It is worse to disclose and have a bad response than to not disclose at all. It compounds the feeling of betrayal. And from a social perspective, it costs the system a whole lot more to wait until she's in an emergency ward or until she's in some protracted crisis or her children are apprehended. The state is spending money on this issue. Do not believe otherwise. They're just not spending it wisely. The UN has identified violence against women as a global pandemic. Canada's numbers are no different from the other countries that are included in that global pandemic. And yet, we're supposed to deal with a pandemic by holding bake sales.
Now, advocates say the core funding model hasn't changed since the 90s, and while the province did put forward $41 million into their action plan to stop sexual violence and harassment last year, experts say there just isn't enough funding allocated for more frontline workers and counselors. Now, we did reach out to the Provincial Ministry of the Attorney General, who oversees this, and to ask if there were any plans to increase funding. They did respond just this evening, saying Ontario will continue to build on their investment and will continue working to make sure that the right supports are there to meet any increase in individuals reporting sexual assault. However, they did not offer any specifics.